Well, it's Pride Month, a time to celebrate the LGBTQ community and history. And so much of that history happened right here in San Francisco. And if you want to know more about how gay rights shaped San Francisco, a great way to do that would be to read The Mayor of Castro Street, the legendary book covering the times of Harvey Milk, written by Randy Shilts. And if you want to learn more about the arrival of AIDS and how San Francisco and the entire country responded to the disease, there is the book And the Band Played On, also written by Randy Shilts. And then there was the battle over gay rights in the military, chronicled in Conduct Unbecoming. Once again, that book written by San Francisco Chronicle reporter Randy Shilts. The man not only wrote 3 monumental books chronicling gay history, he was also in the middle of it, often drawing criticism from all directions. Wilson Walker on the groundbreaking reporter whose legacy drives discussion to this day.
I think it's also more kind of age from being out in the sun. So it's an old book, let's say that.
Off the shelves in his living room, David Tuller has pulled an old copy of History, the landmark book on America's troubled response to AIDS, and the work of his former colleague at the San Francisco Chronicle.
So, I mean, he was obviously a pioneer. He was, out very early and out as a journalist from the beginning, and I think did, amazing work that way.
I've always tried to report on things that would not be covered if I didn't do it.
Randy Shilts, the first openly gay journalist at the Chronicle, would ultimately produce 3 monumental books on LGBT history and rights. And at the center of that work was his coverage of an epidemic.
Well, it's very difficult when it's also your own community and the people that are dying and getting sick, and you don't know yourself, what your situation is, or maybe you do.
Randy and I talked about this a lot because we were both openly gay, working in the mainstream media and covering the biggest story to hit the gay community, which was AIDS.
Retired KPIX political reporter Hank Plant says covering the crisis was inevitably personal, while publicly it was often controversial, and that was something Shilts was not afraid of.
Randy started doing stories that were advocating closing the gay bathhouses and sex clubs, and people in the gay community were calling him a traitor in print. In the gay newspapers. And eventually the health department did close the bathhouses. It was a tool they used. Did it save people's lives? Probably.
And there would be more controversy, specifically the suspense thriller element of And the Band Played On, suggesting one single patient was largely responsible for bringing AIDS to the United States.
Well, this new book, Michael Lee's book about Randy Shilts, does put to rest the whole notion of patient zero.
I know Randy himself had expressed some regrets to others about including that story as the book was getting ready to be published. And it's unfortunate that that was the hook.
Michael Lee's upcoming biography looks at the entire life of Randy Shilts and his lasting imprint on LGBT history.
And I'm hoping that with this book, it captures more of that complexity in a way that actually portrays the full human that he was. I think that he has a very substantial and complicated legacy, and I think that that legacy still plays out today.
Writing his obituary was a challenge because, you couldn't deny that there was controversy. And, I got some angry response later from some people about that it was too nice, or it should have been much more critical.
It's not bad people who get AIDS, it's just people who get AIDS.
Randy Shilts, just 42 years old, died of AIDS in February of 1994, and his funeral drew anti-gay activists from across the country. 30 years later, his legacy is still very much a part of San Francisco, a pioneer who worked to save lives when many others refused to listen, even if it meant angering those in his own community.
He was a great old-fashioned gumshoe reporter, and he was obsessive. He never took no for an answer. He didn't care about being liked, which is important if you're going to be a successful reporter, and we were lucky to have him. The real tragedy, of course, is that 30 years ago right now, Randy died from the disease that he was warning everybody else about. That's a real heartbreak.
but Randy would talk about having, difficulty, walking down the Castro, and people would throw things at him or spit at him or yell at him or, whatever. So I think at some point he sort of felt like, gay persona non grata, in the Castro. But he did what he felt he, was right to do. And, I think he was, I think very courageous that way, and I think deserved a lot of credit for that, whether one agreed with him or not.
Randy Shilts has a plaque on the Castro's Rainbow Honor Walk. It was placed here in 2014 and in a pretty great spot just a few steps from Harvey Milk's old camera store. The book on his life is due out on October 6th.
And San Francisco's official Pride kickoff party is this Friday night. It finishes, of course, with a big parade on Sunday, June 30th.